Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Today we're back with Karl Franz, Prince and Emperor, actually astride Deathclaw today. We're going to be taking on the Warriors of Chaos. This is actually a replay submitted by not Aerocrastic. It is Aerocrastic. But anyway, he said that this was Karl Franz versus triple Shaggoths, so yes, indeed, Kolek and 2 Shaggoths. We've got 4 Chaos Chariots, whole spam of Marauders up front, and a Sorcerer of Metal, just a final cheese mutation, finish things off here. And yeah, a couple of Pistoliers for Aerocrastic. Front line's got some Spearmen, a couple of Great Swords in the center, supported by a Warrior Priest. Karl Franz, of course, has got all his goodies: Gall Miraz, Reikland Runefang, Stand Your Ground, Foe Seeker, and Hold the Line. He's also got a unit of Reiksguard supporting, more Reiksguard over here, the Silver Bullets, well, Great Cannon, and a Jade Wizard. So without further ado, let's get the battle rolling. You can see the Great Cannon opening up shots here, targeting the chariots. Even if like 1 or 2 cannonballs makes contact with the chariots, it will more or less one-shot their unit models. So, ooh, looks like not quite solid contact there, but still a good amount of damage. Pistoliers coming in, firing in at the Marauders. They'll be able to actually do some pretty solid damage in the front line here, get some okay value. Nothing wrong with that. And the Reiksguard also coming in for some probing charges as well, since the Shaggoths are just far enough out of position. The Reiksguard should be able to get a quick charge in here and pull away. Let's see if they're able to do that. Ooh, it's close. Maybe 1 or 2 of them are going to get caught here, potentially, but oh, they're just barely... Oh, a couple of them get a swipe there, but the majority of them do escape. Same thing with these Reiksguard over here running from Kolek. So yeah, you can see Aerocrastic starting to kind of pull things apart here. Cannon's still getting some good value hitting those chariots, and looks like a countercharge coming in. The Reiksguard and Karl Franz going to be dropping all of his buffs, I would imagine. Not quite yet, actually, but Karl with the buffs will wreck Shaggoths, as we'll see in just a moment here. As soon as he juices himself up, here it goes, popping off. Karl Franz, Stand Your Ground, Gall Miraz, Foe Seeker, Reikland Runefang, up to 82 melee attack, 70 melee defense, and 628 total weapon strength, with a bonus versus large as well. Just tore that Shaggoth to shreds. Still tearing it to shreds. That being said, there's an upgraded Earthblood, Final Transmutation. This entire pocket's just going absolutely nuts here in terms of both players just pouring in everything they can to try and finish things off. The Silver Bullets have a commanding Overwatch position firing into the Dragon Ogre Shaggoths there, but it looks like a Chariot has managed to turn the corner here and is potentially going to be coming in. Regrowth going down on Karl Franz from the Jade Wizard there as he stands and fights Kolek. Granted, he does have support here from Great Swords and the Reiksguard, but he still has taken a ton of damage. Granted, he's done a ton of damage to Kolek in return. The cannon I didn't quite catch. Point blanked one of these chariots, and I'm not sure exactly why. The chariot's going to turn around there, but it looks like Lord of the Storm going off is going to catch those state troops. Probably would have been much more effective to cast on cavalry. I actually find Lord of the Storm does quite a bit of damage against cavalry, but regrowth there still on Karl Franz. He's pulling away desperately from Kolek. That being said, Kolek's very, very low. 1 Shaggoth has been fully chased off just about by some Pistoliers, so 1 Shaggoth down, 2 to go, and one of them is getting lower and lower. Karl Franz coming back around for another cycle charge as the Jade Wizard also fights in this pocket as well. And with the buffs and everything up and all the support here, Karl's gone ahead and dropped, looks like actually some buffs from the Warrior Priest supporting this time, which I quite like. The double layering of Franz and the Warrior Priest gives you quite a bit of uptime on those buffs. Hammer of Sigmar and Shield of Faith after the Scroll of Power has been used, so just immediately double buffing this entire pocket here in this critical engagement. You can see these Spearmen up to 48 melee attack, actually doing some pretty solid damage to the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. Karl dives down one more time to try and finish this thing off here. Kolek has been routed off and is being chased off by the Jade Wizard. Very, very good stuff. And yeah, at this point, the Chaos Chariots have mostly compromised the backline. The Pistoliers trying to clog them up, and they do actually take down a unit model there, so that's very good stuff. You can see the Overwatch fire from the Silver Bullets, despite having taken some Chariot charges themselves, also still online. Probably going to finish off this other Chariot here, so yeah, been able to secure the backline, just about finish things off here. There are some Chariots still running through this main kind of pocket of Empire units here, and the 3rd Shaggoth is going to get taken down by Karl here, charging in from the side, getting a good swoop Deathclaw, you know, using, I guess, his or her, I'm not really sure, claws to finish things off here. The Metal Sorcerer also gets terrified away, and with that, it's going to be a quick victory for the Empire. So very well played to Aerocrastic and his opponent. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that one. I know a lot of people have had the triple Shaggoth be the bane of their existence, and the Empire, you know, they can have troubles with it, although they certainly do have the tools to deal with it, as we were able to see here. But I figured you guys would like to see the heroic Karl Franz slaying more or less 3 Shaggoths. I know he didn't quite technically slay all 3 of them, or any of the 3 of them actually, but he was the one to do the majority of the damage to all 3 of them. So big props to Karl, big props to Aerocrastic as well for sending that in. Super fun battle. The Great Swords in the front line were able to do pretty decently considering what they were up against. I mean, the Marauders just got completely melted there by the combined might of the Reichsguard, the Great Swords and stuff. Even the Empire State Troop Spearmen, I mean, 54 kills on State Troop Spearmen, even against, like, Marauders. That's no joke. Just goes to show how powerful those support buffs are. And, man, Warrior Priest and Karl Franz together, I mean, or you could switch Karl Franz out for the Archlector, but I mean, Karl Franz up on Deathclaw is cheaper than, like, the Archlector with the Royal Altar of Gryphites, so maybe it's more worthwhile to just take Karl up in the air. You know, and certainly in some matchups it could be potentially pretty risky, but I have to say I'm very impressed with how well Karl did there. With stacking all his buffs together, he was able to deal quite efficiently with the Shaggoths, and you guys don't see me take Karl on Deathclaw very much, just because I think that he gets pretty good value from being on the ground and having AP on the horse, but at the same time, I mean, let's go ahead and just have a look here briefly. I mean, Deathclaw, with the juiced up stats from everything, just suddenly becomes an absolute combat monster, like on the level of Kolek and, you know, Krokar and those, you know, world beater level lords and monsters. So if we go to the Empire here, Karl up on Deathclaw does gain some extra weapon damage, so he used to not actually have any additional weapon damage, but let's go over the stat line differences. Obviously, he does lose a bit of melee attack, still has the same melee defense, gains a substantial amount of health, and obviously much faster, and more weapon strength and charge bonus, and I think that's the most critical part here. 90 charge bonus is huge, even for a heroic unit. That is massive. So being able to dive Karl from up in the air with that 90 charge bonus, in addition to having a bit more weapon strength, 345 armor piercing, and then you combine that with all the buffs he's got. I mean, he only has base 38 melee defense, but remember, Hold the Line gives a constant +5 melee defense now since it was changed. Actually a quite useful ability. It's not game-breaking by any means, but it's nice to have. Foe Seeker, and of course layering Stand Your Ground with Reichel and Runefang will give you that 26 melee attack, 27 melee defense, as well as some additional leadership as well, and then Galmaraz is going to increase that armor piercing damage and give you the coveted bonus versus large. So yeah, with all of those buffs stacked up, Karl Franz becomes a very, very scary opponent to have to deal with. Granted, he's pretty expensive in disguise. I mean, 2,600 compared to, I mean, if we were to say, let's just open up another one here, and we take the Empire, and we go with, let's say, an Archlector, put him on the horse. It's not exactly the same buffs, and it doesn't probably quite have exactly the same stopping power, but yeah, you can see this is about, what, 29, almost 3,000 worth, so I guess Karl Franz is a bit cheaper than that, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see you know, kind of the comparison between the two versus various monsters. I might have to do a video comparing Karl to the Faith Altdorf squad to see, you know, who really comes out on top in terms of monster slaying, but certainly Karl Franz up on Deathclaw does have some merit, and it's something that I'm going to be looking into a bit more. And of course, everyone loves Shaggoth slaying, so that's fun. In terms of Chaos, I mean, obviously that build is not tournament legal, so personally, if you were to want to make that tournament legal, all you would really need to do is cut the Chaos Sorcerer Lore of Metal, mostly just because you want to get Sarthrel. He's a big monster, he causes terror, he's also unbreakable and has missile resistance. He doesn't have the AP anti-large of a Shaggoth, but he also gives you your caster and Lord in one, so you could do more or less the same thing with something like this, and it would actually be tournament legal. Shaggoths do not count as super weapons. You can only take 2. You can have 3 monsters in total. Again, this is kind of a reminder for those of you who are going to be in the tournament this weekend. this is how you would make that build tournament legal. So you do that. You're only allowed to take 5 Marauders in the front line, so we'll go ahead and switch that up. The Chariots, I believe, I want to say 4 is fine, so it's a weird pick, but I'm actually going to only take 2, and instead we're going to grab... Ooh, Summoners of Rage do seem pretty tempting here, although we already have so much anti-large AP. I just feel like we need more numbers and mobility. So we're going to grab some Marauder Horsemen with Throwing Axes, 3 of them, and a couple of Chaos Poison Warhounds just to help the flanks. And this basically is more or less how you would transform that build to not only, I think, be better, but also tournament legal. Big Bird, you don't have to worry about him taking the fire. He will get gooned by Karl super hard, but you want to just keep all 3 monsters together as much as possible and move them around in a big death ball. Then you have the Marauder Horsemen throwing axes at various pockets. Chaos Marauders can just be distracted in the front line, and while the enemy demis and stuff are focused on your monster squad, your chariots need to be out on the periphery away from your opponent's cavalry, just cycling on infantry. And what was the guy's name? Something Moose did a pretty good job of that, but again, this is how you would make that Chaos build tournament legal. But thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.